initiation recording. Okay, now we're recording. So start a new project for it. Okay, the empty activity, I'll call it calculator. Use Java Marshmallow just like we did yesterday. Okay, next, and finish. Okay, then it's going to build our project for us. Cool. So the idea to calculate is pretty simple. It's based on what I did with you yesterday, right? So we are going to need first. Let me just turn it off here. I think this is better to see it. Let me put a little bit bigger. So we start by working with the design of the application. Okay. I will try to change to have the same size that I have here on my screen, the same size of the virtual device that I'm using. So I have the same look and feel that I'm building. And also I always put here to show the system UI. So it shows the same screen that will appear on the end, on the device itself. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take this hello world off, delete it, and start from new. Okay, first we need a text view. A text view we saw yesterday is just for to show a text to the user. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop here. Okay, I could drag and drop also to here. Okay, it's possible also. Okay, and now I'm going to position it so it be on the middle and have a little margin to the top. Going to put some margin to the left and to the right, so it keeps on the middle, and also I think, let's see, 32 to the top. Let's change the size. So we could change the text size here, or it already has text appearance like built-in for us, just like HTML does for H1, H2, and 3. So let's test body 1. No, let's see large, how it goes. Large, medium. I think display 1, display 3. Oh no, too big. Large I think is good enough. Okay. Also put as bold. Okay. And normally you have the text here. Okay. And we will type calculator. Okay, and change there. Okay, but if you see here, we have a warning here, a design warning. Okay, this type of warnings and errors will not kill your application, just like in Java code. Java code, if you have an error, nothing works. Even the R class doesn't work very well. You probably saw that. Okay, so if I click here on the warning, it shows why it has an error. It had an error because of what? Of the hardcode swing calculator. Because I should use as a swing resource. It should be on the swing file. Okay, we have two ways of doing this. One is the automatic way that I'll show you now. Then I'll do it next with the other one. We'll do it by ourselves. Okay. So the automatic way is to do what? This happen. You click here on the warning, and you have here the fix button that will help you to pick up the swing. Instead of being here, it will appear on the swing file. On the swing file. But actually, let's see here. On values, we have here the swing file. But actually, we already have this swing here. Here, of the app name, calculator. So I don't need to define it again this time, okay? So I go back here, and here on the text, where is the text? Okay, here, the text here. Instead of having the calculator, I can pick up from the swing file. To pick up, I use at string and I can choose. But I just defined one on my string file. Why do I have this a lot of strings defined for me? Because Android gives us some strings. For example, you want to use on your application copy. Normally copy is a basic word that you use on the operating system. So it already translated for us. So if you use the Android copy, if the application is in English, it should copy. If it's French, I don't know how it's copy in French, but you have in other language, okay? In this case, let's choose here app name. And you see nothing changed because it's defined there, calculator, okay? If the app name was not calculator, it's calc. Here, it changes also automatically, okay? This is done by what? The R class, okay? The R class, the same R that we are using there to pick up the XML and put on the code to interact, also this is the R class that's going to do that. The R class is what makes all glued together. The XMLs, the definition, the layout, and the code, okay? Also, this R class, one problem with the R class is what? If you have mistakes on your code, the R class does not work. So it probably you see like everything not working very well when you have errors, okay? But let's put back here the calculator and save it. And now here calculator appears, okay? Good. Now what we want? We want to have a text view for the num and one edit text, right? Just like we defined. So I can put it kind of like here, I think. It's good enough. I put to the left here a constraint. I put, I think, 24. And I'll shoot on the bottom of the calculator. Okay? So if I move it here, it will move together the text view, okay? It's a good practice for you to have all your layout kind of glued together. Normally it's easier for you to work with that, okay? So, and the text will be num1 2 dots, okay? And I'm going to click here on the warning and say to fix it for me. Now to fix for me, it needs to know what? A name and a value. The name will be the attribute that's going to use, that you're going to put on the XML. So this is how I can pick up this text if I want later on, okay? So num1 text view. And num on the string file, on values, I could have values different from normal and from night mode, okay? We can do that if you want, okay? I don't see a lot of applications, but maybe there is. I never see one that changes the text during the night, but maybe. You have something like good morning, good night, I don't know, something like that. Okay. So now it's on the string and put automatically for me here and appears also here for me, okay? Yes, okay. Now we want what? An edit text. We have a lot of edit text. For here, we are going to use what? Numbers. So easier for us to put here an edit text for number, so it will appear keyboard of numbers, okay? So I put kind of like here, okay? And give me some errors. Why? It's actually the one thing that we have to do on Android is what? Always keep up with backward compatibility. So if it works as a Marshmallow, needs to work on every version normally before that. Now you have a minimal version. Okay. So one thing about this is what? Now they decided that 45 dps is too small as the height of the text. But it was defined on a version before that 45 was the better number. So it gives us like this error. So we could fix, okay? So it has a smaller, okay? Also one thing about it. Google, Apple are very concerned about accessibility. So a lot of persons use text-to-speech. When you click a component, it says what the company does. Okay. Normally, text views, you don't need to worry about it. Why? Because it already has a text for it. So you click here, you say, oh, text with calculator, something like that. But this is an input. So we need to put some skippable tests for it. Okay. So we could also put here fix. And yeah, and as for here, it doesn't put automatic. Oh, add resource to the module. Let's see. Is string value. We could put a string file for it, like with a whole text or something explaining. Okay. For us, let's keep it simple, right? Let's actually. Yeah, this is num1 also only, right? Let's put another string. Num1 text. This is put the first number. I think that's good enough. And okay. Why it didn't appear here? Oh, it created but didn't appear here. Okay. Okay. Now I put here as a hint. Okay. And also put here as gray. Okay. We could use that. A lot of applications also use this gray as what? Instead of putting an edit text here. Okay. You could also do that. A lot of application does that. Okay. And this kind of gray is what? When you first click, it disappears, and the text that you use inputs, it will appear there. Okay. So now I'm going to put the constraints. Okay. Put the constraint to the left and to the right. So it's in the middle between this num1 and the end of the screen. And also put to the bottom of num1 and to the top of num1. Why is that? So it's on the height, it's also on the middle. So now if I move a little bit num1 to the bottom, yeah, this one, move it too, okay? Let's see now. It's also saying for us to do autofill. Autofill. If you have like name, ask for the name. Probably want autofill because the user already put their name in other application. So you can use autofill. You can't say that. But in your case, what? It's going to be a number for calculate. So it doesn't have sense to use that. So we're going to use set important autofills to no fix. And also insufficient color contrast ratio. Okay. Also the same thing. It says that since we have colorblind, they have defined a color for the edit text that was not a good one as contrast. Okay. So they asked for us to change it. Okay. So let's change it. So I think that's it for the first number. Okay. Any questions so far? Everything good? Yes?
Sir,
Yes.
we need to always solve the warnings, or is it fine that I keep my app like that?
One or two warnings is okay, but normally it's not very good to have a lot of warnings.
Okay. Because sir, it is working, but I did not change any
Yes.
warning. I thought. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
but I
working.
didn't show you yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah, so today I'm showing, so on your project that you're going to be graded, it's better, your grade will probably be better if you don't have any warnings.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing about it, this edit text is the one that I'm going to use for input. So I'm going to change the ID here, so I have better one. So I change it instead of edit text number, I'll call it num1 edit text and going to take this number off. Okay, so I'm going to refactor. Also, Now I'm going to put the num2. So I put a text view here. Now just for us to show how we could also define here the string file, we could put here string name num2. Actually, let's do it like this. I'm going to copy this two. I'm going to see num2 text view, it's num2, and num2 text, put the second number. So I have all the definition of the strings for me. One for to put on the text view, is num2 do dots, and here to put as a hint, put the second number. Okay? So now, the text view, I'm going to put the constraint to it, and also constraint should have the same left as the number one here, the text view of number one. I'm going to choose I could also choose the string by what? Clicking this, I don't know if I call it square, this form here, pick up a resource, and disappear here. So I can choose num2 text. No, num2 text view actually. Okay, that I have there. Okay, so it changed for me. Also now, I'm going to put the d text. So I also pick up number. I will place in the middle of this number 2, the constraint. And on the middle, the same left and right as the ed text. Okay, I think they two close apart, right? So let's pick up this one and change a little bit. Instead 32, let's put 42. See, then the ed text also changed. So it's easier for us to. Sometimes it's easier for you to drag and drop. Sometimes it's easier for you to pick up the number here, okay? So put the first number here, put the second number. So let's find a hint here. So attributes, you have a lot of attributes. Sometimes it's hard for you to find the one that you want. So you have here the search. So let's find here hint and choose to be num2 text. Okay, so now we have it there. Okay, it gives me error of design about the size of the touchscreen. I'm going to fix it. Autofill, I don't want autofill, so set it to no. And insufficient color range, also going to fix it. Okay. This all could be done by finding here on the properties, okay? And I'll put here, for example, tell stock color hint, what it is, important autofill to know, okay? Okay, now I want to put the 4 buttons for the 4 operations, okay? Plus, minus, multiplication, and division, okay? One will be just right beside the other, right? So I could use, instead of constraint layout, another type of layout, okay, that I didn't show you yesterday. We have it here on layouts. We have other types of layouts. We have the constraint layout, is normally the perfect way for us to build layouts, but sometimes it's easier for you to choose a linear layout. What's a linear layout? We have 2 forms of linear layout, horizontal and vertical. Okay, what the vertical means? For example, it divide like in stacks. For example, if you have 4 items, you divide in 4. Or also on the horizontal. So it divides the screen. So sometimes it's easier for you to choose like that for simple applications. So I'm going to use that to have one button right beside the other. So it'll be easier for me. Something like that. Okay? So let me pick up. So I pick up this here, linear layout horizontal. Okay? We have also table layout and table row and space. Okay? And frame layout. Frame layout is normally used more when you work with like kind of like videos or maybe games, animation that you want to put something and something animated happen there. Okay, it's not very common to use. Okay, and tab layout and tab row is more normally it's more used for guys that work with HTML because you have the flex grid. And if you use Bootstraps, use some form like kind of like that. So they build something similar, but not as good. If you want, you can use it, but normally you better stick up with these three first ones, okay? Because they are the best way normally recommended by Google on Dot. So I put here the linear layout. I'll drag and drop here, should be on the middle. Okay, it tries to fill the whole screen. See, I don't want that. Okay, but let's first. I want to what? To have to the left a constraint. I'm not being able to do here because I'm moving out of the screen. So I do it by here with this plus button and this plus button, and I put here a space of, let's see, 8, and here 8. Okay, so I have like a size, but it's not moving the size. Why is that? Because it's like hard coded here the width of it. Okay, one thing that I could do is to put 0 dp. When I put 0 dp, it says what? Doesn't care about the width, care about what width is left when you work with the constraints. So if the constraints are like kind of like this, the size will be kind of like this. If it's bigger, it will go bigger. Okay, so you can resize no matter what the screen are. Okay. Also for the top, I'm going to put between here and I think the second, so top of edit text, no, top to edit text, but bottom, and I'm going to put like here 32, I think it's good enough. Okay, and the height I'm going to leave like this, but you're going to change because we don't want the buttons that big. Okay, now one thing, everything that's inside the linear layout doesn't need constraints. So I'm going to put here my first button, drag and drop to it, and put one button. I put the second one, it divides automatically, so I don't need to care. So I put the third button, and I put my fourth button, and it keeps dividing. So it's easier if you want to have one beside the other, okay? But one thing that we need to work here, linear layout, it goes all the way to the bottom of the screen, even more than the size of the screen. So we don't want the height to be kind of like that, 476 dp. I want to have the wrap content. Wrap content is just like it says, have the minimum size of my content. But if I have a button, for example, that's bigger, let's see, put his button here, let's see here, height, I put like 120 dp. See, it all grows because the minimum size to fit all the content. If you want this bigger, it will be bigger, okay? But I don't want that. So now I want to have the text. So the first one will be plus, and also I'll call it as plus button. Not plus, let's put the, yeah, I think this is better, right? But why I don't put here? Because the resource name must start with a letter, okay? Also, it's not good to use special cases, okay? For the name, okay? You only can use what? Uppercase and lowercase, numbers, and underscore, okay? So Let's call it plus button. Okay. The second one, we'll call it minus button. And here we'll go with minus. The third one will be multi-button. And the text will be the asterisk. And the fourth one will be div button for division, and then we're going to put this one here. Okay, we have our buttons, but we have also our warnings here. Okay, they asking for borderless. This is kind of like a new error. Let's see how it goes with borderless. Let's see if it's better. Okay, I don't like very much, but okay. Actually, iOS did this, I think, 3 years ago, but also the strings also is asking for this. Also, let's put plus button. Also minus button. Multi button and div button. Okay, there we go. So now it's easy also. We can also, this way we have organized our layouts, okay? We could also have, for example, like containers, a view to facilitate if you want, to organize if you want, okay? But now let's put, I'll put just a text view here on the bottom, okay, for the result. I'll change the idea of this one, okay? Normally when I don't care about what it does, for example, the calculator, num1, num2, I will not use this idea for anything. So I will not care about this idea. But here, result and the text and the buttons, I'll probably have some user interaction with it, okay? I try to keep on the middle of the buttons and with some let's put 64. Okay. Also, let's put it big. We want the result to be big. Let's put style display 2. No. Let's put medium. Yeah. And let's write. Where is it? Oops, not selected. Let's write result 2 dots. Okay. And now I give me a warning because of the string. Yes, exactly. So we're going to fix it. Result text view. And I think that's it for our layout. Okay. Any questions about the layout so far?
Sir, can we change the white background to some flowers or cars?
Yes, you can. Normally this is done by what? You have here. Normally you try not to have like image on the background. You try to have a solid color or gradient. Okay. But normally use themes for that. Okay. Or here, for example, on themes, values themes, you have also XML. That's used for what? What color will the primary color, the variant of it? So we have here like 2 colors and the variant, and you use it for it. Normally you have use palette of colors in your application. It's normal, good practice for that.
Okay.
Normally a design, if you work with a designer, he defines this for you. If you want, you could, for example, here. Let's, where is it? Here. Create a color palette. You have, I think, yeah, super fast color palette generator. If you want, this part that it creates for you a palette if you want. One that respect the design that looks good for what, like for primary colors, second colors, so you could do that. Okay, it's easier for you to do that, and you could also see what palettes that people are creating and using. Okay, like for example this. So these are all tones of green. You could have something like that, and you could have, normally you always keep like I think 3 colors or 5 colors, 7, 9. Normally they keep it odd numbers. I don't know why, but probably if you talk with a designer, it will tell you why this looks better. But it has something to do with complementary colors. That one color will look good contrasting to the other.
Yes.
Okay. So you could do that, but you could also change the background to have an image. Okay, you could do that, but you could do that by doing what? You put here, you have the image view.
Mm-hmm.
So you could put like an image view. So here. Let's finish the calculator, then I'll show you how you could do that. Okay? And you could. Okay, so now let's move to the code, the more important part. Okay? So normally, what's better for you to do? I didn't go over this a lot. The size is good here? Yes, I think so. So normally we are going to declare here as a class variable all the components that we are going to use on the code. Okay? In this case, it will be the 2D text for num1 and from num2. So I start typing here edit text, and normally what I do, I use the autocomplete. Okay, the autocomplete is your friend. Why is that? Because to use this component on Java, you need to import it. When you use the autocomplete, it will automatically import for you. So for example, I choose here, and it automatically import for me here. If I didn't do that, what I need to do? I need to go type here, and then type it here again. Because without this, it gives me an error here. Okay? Normally, also a good practice is, I think it's a good practice to have the same name as the idea, the name of the variable. So it's easier, okay, to work with. Okay? If you forget the autocomplete, okay, it turns red, and your code doesn't work very well. One thing to solve is what? You put the mouse on top, on hover, and here you give some hints on how you can solve. For example, to import the class. Oh, that's what I want to do. So I click here, and it automatically import the class for me here. Okay? So if you forget the autocomplete, you could also do that. Okay? So now let's put the second one. Edit text. I think I call it num2. Edit text. And I think that's it. And that's defined here. Public, a function for the plus. Plus button pressed and receives a view. I also use the autocomplete here. So it import for me here. View, view. Okay.
Sir, what is that attribute? I didn't understand. What is view?
View,
Yeah.
it's everything that we have here is a view. Everything that goes on the display is a view.
Yes.
So here, what this means that receives a parameter view, receives the button that was pressed. It passes it to here. So maybe you can use the same, for example, you could define one function to do all the operations. And you could select between them inside here. You could check, oh, the text is plus, the text is this one. You could do that like that. It's one option. Okay? Normally this is more used, for example, you could have, for example, a list. For example, Instagram. Instagram have a list of followers normally. You could unfollow them. You normally have a button on the list.
Yeah.
So normally when unfollow, you could check which was the button that was called there, for example, okay? So I need the content of number 1 and number 2 to put them on text view. So I actually also need the text view here. This one, text view. That's, I didn't recall, result text view, but I put with uppercase. I'll change it here to have the same pattern. One thing that we need to take care of is always have the same pattern doing all your code. It's a good practice. So refactor. So result text view. So on create, I'm going to pick up all 3 of them. Okay. Number 1 text view receives find view ID r.id dot text view. Num2 text view receives find view by ID r.id dot. Oh, I think I didn't put num2 ID text there. Let's see. The second one. Yes, I forgot to change the ID. So I change it now. Okay. So now num2 that text. Good. And now for the text view, result text view receives r.id dot result text view. Great. Okay. So now on the plus, what I need to do? I need pick up the content for num1, for num2. So we're going to define here a string as receives num1 id text dot get text dot toString. Then I'm going to convert to an integer. Num1 receives integer percent s. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for the second number. I could create a function just for us to public int get number from edit text. I could do something like that, and to have this inside that. So I actually put return here. Okay. Since I'm going to have this 2 times, right? So I think it's easier. So now we have here and also for num2. Then I'm going to do int result equals num1 plus num2, and then I'm going to put the result on the text view. So result text view dot set text string value of result. Okay, let's check the plus. Okay, but first we need to here on the button and assign the click. Let's see here on click and plus button pressed. So let's test it now. So I put here 3 and 4 and plus result 7. But I missed here the result, right? Result 2 dots. So I could put here instead of string value of, I could put here result 2 dots plus result. That works. But we have this value on the string file. We should also use the string file here. Okay? So let's do that. So we have get string that you could r.string dot result xview. So we got the string for us. So if we change it there, it will change also here. So later, I want to put in Portuguese. It will be easier for us. Okay, now result 10. Okay, any questions? Everything good? And I think it's pretty much do copy and paste, right? To do the same thing for the other operations. So, plus button, we could use the minus, and then here minus, oops, right, what's happened? Plus, now it's multi, and here multiplication, and division, and here division. And now you just assign it here, minus 2 minus times 2 mult and division to div. And there we go. We see now that if you're not using the code on the design, it's always gray, and if you change, it's appear as yellow. Mustard, yeah. Okay, play. Okay, so now 4 and 6 minus result minus 2. Multiplication 24, division 0 because you're doing integer. So let's change this to 2. Division 2. Okay. But one thing, if you divide by 0, it crashes. Why we cannot divide a number by 0? Because it's infinite. Okay. So one thing that we could do, we could tell the user about this mistake. Because probably it's a mistake because it crashes the application. One other thing that I want to show you this before, if you run the application, we have here logcat. It's like kind of like catch all the logs of your application. Okay. Here you can select which application that you want to select, and here which phone that you want to select. Okay. One thing about it is what? It's very, very verbose. It has all everything that happens on the system. Probably for us, we don't care a lot of that. For example, he is saying that's waiting for blocking GC profile saver. I don't even know what a profile saver is. Okay, so but errors appear here. Okay, so for example, if I divide a number, or if I don't put anything and press plus, it crashes and appears here as red. So it happened what? A fatal exception with what? And it's an exception from Java. Okay, that's also very verbose. It says here, fatal exception on the main. Okay, on com example calculator. It's the application that's now dead here. And says illegal state step could not execute method from Android on click. And says here internal class, but as blue appear all classes that start this mistake. If you click here, it was on line 26 and line 29. So it called here 29, this get num for text. And when it tried to parse the int, it happened a mistake. Okay? One thing that could be done is to have a try catch to avoid this mistake, okay? But here we will not care about this, okay? But it's probably if you're going to build a calculator that you're going to put on the store, you're going to use for something, you probably need to deal with all the mistakes that could happen on your code, okay? We're just going to care for one mistake, that's the one from division by 0, okay? So if you're having trouble, the application crashes or even doesn't open at all, because one mistake that's common also, just for you to show you, okay? I said it yesterday, set content view is for what? We will get the XML from the layout, this activity main, and you put on the screen. So it creates every component, so you create everything that's here defined in XML. All the buttons, all the text, all the text view. One common mistake is to do what? To try to do the find view by ID before the set content view. If I do that, it will crash. Why is that? Because this component doesn't exist, because they were created here on the set content view, okay? I don't know why. Oh, it's because it didn't use. If I use, if I use now, it will crash. See? Because this component, when you do find view by ID in a component that doesn't exist, it returns null. And when I try to, because it doesn't exist yet, okay? So, it's a common mistake also. Okay? So, that being said, let's check if num2 here is 0. So, if num2 equals 0, we are going to show a message to the user. Okay? Android has something that's funny, I don't know why, but they think it's funny. Like, for example, they name as Candy, they used to name as Candy the operating system, the version of the operating system, and also some components. They make like, they think kind of like intuitive how they think. They have like kind of like a toast message. The idea comes from a toast that you eat in the morning, that you press bread, and that kind of stuff. Why is that? Because the idea is what? A toast coming out of a toaster, what it does? You put that, click, and you eat. You appear shortly the bread, and you go back off. Is the idea of the message. It appears for a few seconds, and it disappears. That's the idea of the toast message. Okay, so we could create here a toast message. So we are going to the autocomplete. So import for me. I said to make a text. Okay, first, and it needs 3 parameters. Okay, first the context. What's the context? Is the name of your activity dot this. What's the context on Android? A constant is a class that can create components. Activity can create components because it will appear visually. So it has access to the display to show things to the user. So you're going to use to create this toast message. Now we need what? A string here. Cannot divide by 0, and now the duration. The duration, you have 2 options. long or short. Okay, it doesn't give like for you to define the duration. The idea is to have not long message. Okay, and then I'm going to show this to the user. Okay. Also, what do I need to do?
Remove that line.
What?
Remove that calculation line. Now divided by.
Yes, I don't want to put this calculate line, so I want to return it here, so it doesn't keep going to the code here. Okay. Great. Thanks. So now I put here the first number, let's see, 5 and 0. And here, division, it appears here. Cannot divide by 0. It appears for some time and disappears. Okay? Okay, good. Those message, okay? Just one thing is missing. Since we are all our strings are on the string file, we also need the string on the string file. So let's take from here and put there on the string file, okay? So we have more clean code. So we're going to keep here and create a string. Name will be error div0. And then I'm going to pick up this string here, put it here. Okay, save it. Every time normally you save this, the R class regenerates everything that it needs. Okay. Get string r.string dot error div0. Now I think you're good to go. Okay, so now let's see. 7 and 0. We cannot divide by 0. Okay.
So what is that new editing do that you just did?
What's the new what?
That warning was showing before. And yeah, why did you use get skill?
It's good practice for us to all the text that you are going to show the user to be on the string file. Why is that? String file here, later on, here I make the application in English, but we want to make it in Portuguese. We can here open editor and put more languages. For example, add a new locale. When you add a new locale, what you're going to create? You're going to create another string file for a specific local, a specific place. So we could, like, for example, I want to create in, let's say, in Dutch. You could, what you're going to have? You're going to have the same keys, but different values here. Okay?
It will be translated.
Yeah, and then on your application, what normally it does? Your app kind of like smart. It checks when installed. It checks what is the language that the user is using. Oh, he's using Portuguese. Do we have a string file with Portuguese? Oh, yes, we have. So let's show that. Oh, we don't have. So let's show the default one. Okay. So normally it's a good practice for you to do default English, because it's the more universal language that we have. I don't think it's perfect, but it's the one that's most used. I think Chinese is more used than, but normally internationally we use more English. And then you have the others one with the language that you want to have. Okay. Good. Going to